All right, guys, 9-8, factoring by grouping. This is the last section in Chapter 9. Today, we're going to go over factoring polynomials with four terms and factoring trinomials by grouping. And we've already seen factoring trinomials by grouping, so hopefully this will help review that with you. Okay, so example 1, factoring a four-term polynomial. Now, if you take a look at this, there is nothing that all four of these have in common. Okay, 6, 3, 4, 2. The 6, 4, and 2 have something in common. 4 and 2 have something in common. 6 and 3. So let's group up the first two, and let's group up the last two and see what we get. So 6x cubed and 3x squared. They have 3x in common. 6x cubed divided by 3x, 6 divided by 3 is 2, x cubed divided by x is x squared. 3x squared, factor out that 3x, so 3 divided by 3 is 1, x squared divided by x is x. So now we have 2x squared plus x in there. Maybe we should factor out another x. All right, so let's go ahead and do 3x squared, and then that would leave us with 2x plus 1. Right? Now, negative 4x minus 2. They both have a negative 2, so let's factor out a negative 2. Negative 4x divided by negative 2 is positive 2. Positive 2x. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 is positive 1. And you'll notice that within the parentheses, those two binomials match, which is what we want. So then we would have 2x plus 1, which is what's here inside the grouping, and then whatever is left, we put inside another grouping. So we have 3x squared minus 2. Now it can be written like that, or it can be written as 3x squared minus 2 times 2x plus 1. This would be the preferred way because this would be in standard form. The larger degree binomial is coming before the smaller degree binomial. Okay, let's take a look at number 2. Factor completely. Now this one is slightly different than the one before. 8t to the fourth, 12t cubed, 16t squared, and 24t. All four of these have at least one thing in common. They're all multiples of 4, and each of these has at least one t. So the greatest common factor is 4t. We're going to factor that out first before we do anything else. 8t to the fourth divided by 4t will leave us with 2t cubed. 12t cubed divided by 4t is going to leave us with 3t squared. 16t squared divided by 4t is going to be 4t. 24t divided by 4t will be 6. Okay? So I like to go through and just double check, make sure that I did not do some silly math. 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times 3 is 12, 4 times 4 is 16, and 4 times 6 is 24. Got it. Okay, now we want to look inside the brackets and see if we have anything in common between the first two and the last two. 2t cubed and 3t squared. Well, 2 and 3 only have a 1 in common, so that's not going to help anything. T cubed and t squared, they have t squared in common. So let's factor out t squared. So that's going to leave us with 2t plus 3. Because 2t cubed divided by t squared, 3 minus 2 is 1. 3t squared, factor out that t squared, leaves us with just 3. 4t and 6 have a 2 in common. So let's factor that out. 4t divided by 2 is 2t. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Our groupings match, which is what we want. Don't forget to bring 4t down because if you forget him, that would be very sad. Okay. So now we have 4t the parentheses that match, 2t plus 3. Mark those out because you know you've got all that stuff done. And t squared plus 2. And again, I would rewrite this so that the larger degree binomial is first. 4t times t squared plus 2 times 2t plus 3. And factoring completely is definitely a little bit more challenging than the other one, just because you do have to factor out the greatest common factor first. All right, going on to example 3. Oh, before we go there. Okay, remember the 2 by 2 square that I showed you in 9-7. You can, there's this method which we showed you, I showed you both of them, or all three of the different ways actually. The guess and check method, the grouping method, and the square method. You can use any of those. You do not have to do one or the other. With respect to the trinomials. Now with the polynomials, you have to do grouping. There's no other way to do that one. But trinomials, you can do whichever method you prefer. But I highly suggest and recommend that you pick one and stick with it, just because it will ease your mind and you'll do better. If I had to choose between the three, oh, I don't know. I wouldn't know what to do. Okay, I'm not going to say that because I don't want to influence you. All right, factoring a trinomial by grouping. So we're going to look up at this trinomial. We've got 24h squared plus 10h minus 6. All of these are even, so we're going to factor out a 2 first. So factoring out a 2 leaves us with 12h squared plus 5h minus 3. I'm going to get rid of that so it doesn't look like I squared it. Okay, now doing this using grouping. We've got that 2, we have 12h squared plus 5h minus 3. For grouping, what we do is we take the first and the last, we multiply those together, negative 36h. You multiply your a and c. Then you find factors of negative 36h that will give you a positive 5. Now, because that's negative, you know one has to be positive and one has to be negative. Well, 36, think of 6, 6, but that would cancel out, so that won't work. 9 and 4, hey, that's it. And since this is positive, the 9 has to be positive and the 4 has to be negative. So now we have 2 times 12h squared plus 9h minus 4h minus 3. Okay, we need to group up these two and we need to group up these two. So we have 2 times, what does 12h squared and 9h have in common? Well, they both have a 3 and they both have an h. So 3h. 4h plus 3. All right, what about negative 4h and negative 3? Well, that's almost this, right? It almost matches that binomial, but these are negatives and these are not. So let's factor out a negative. So negative 1, that leaves 4h plus 3. And it looks like we're cooking with gas now. So we've got 2 times, I'm going to do the one that I have inside the parentheses, the duplicated one, 4h plus 3, and then 3h minus 1. And there's your answer. And since these are the same degree, it doesn't matter which one comes first. So you can have that written as 2, 4h plus 3, or 2, 3h minus 1, 4h plus 3. Totally up to you. All right, now let's do Let's say we do this using the square method. Now these are so similar, it's just the setup is slightly different. Okay, so we've got our 2 by 2, our 4 square, right? And the first term always goes in here, and you notice that that 2 is staying out. We don't bring that 2 along yet, but you do have to factor that 2 out. Otherwise, it will totally mess up the square, which is one reason why sometimes I think grouping is better. 12h squared and minus 3, first term here, last term here. Multiply those together, negative 36h squared. Factors of negative 36, that would give us a positive 5. Well, we're not going to recreate the wheel. We know that that was 9h and negative 4h. So we're going to put those in the boxes. Remember, it doesn't matter if 9h is here or here, not at all. Okay, now factor out your greatest common factor. So between 12h squared and 9h, they have a 3 and an h in common. Negative 4h and negative 3, they have a negative 1 in common. Now going down, 12h squared and negative 4h would have a 4h in common, and 9h and negative 3 would have a 3 in common. So this would leave us with 3h minus 1 and 4h plus 3. But don't forget about the 2. There you go. Okay? And so that's both ways. Does not matter which way you do it, not at all. And you could even go so far as to doing the 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4, and the 1 and 3, and do that method. It's up to you. Okay? Grouping, I think, is faster than the guess and check method. And square method is nice as long as you do everything you're supposed to do. Okay, grouping is a little bit more forgiving, I think. All right, example 4. This one is getting to be a bit long. Okay, I don't know what happened to the example, so we'll just do one of the quick checks. And let's go ahead and do this one. So we have 3m cubed plus 10m squared plus 3m. So first thing we want to do is see if any of these have, if these terms have something in common. Well, the 3 and 3 would have a 3 in common, but 10 doesn't have a 3, so that's not going to work. But they each have an m, so let's factor out an m. Now we have 3m squared plus 10m plus 3. Okay, multiply a and c, 3m squared times 3, which is 9m squared. Factors of 9m squared, that would give you 10. The only one I can think of right away is 1 and 9. And that's more specifically 1m and 9m. So we have m, 3m squared plus 1m plus 9m plus 3. We need to group up the first two, and we need to group up the last two. This gives us m. 3m squared and 1m only have an m in common. That leaves us with 3m plus 1. 3m squared divided by m, 3m. 1m divided by m, just a 1. 9m and 3 have a 3 in common. 9m divided by 3, 3m. 3 divided by 3 is 1. All right, now that leaves us with m times m plus 3 times 3m plus 1. All right, so this 3m plus 1, that's right there, right? And so we're done with that, and then we're left with m plus 3, which goes here, and then that m. So these would be the possible dimensions of that particular cardboard box, right, or